Run faster, work harder, catch up, get ahead, constantly be on the move. I mean, this is literally the chaotic, urgent hustle of our modern world, right? We're always chasing something, totally believing that if we just push a little bit harder, we'll finally find peace. But what if the exact opposite is true? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to fundamentally shift how you approach life struggles by exploring a really profound philosophical perspective, the immense, almost counterintuitive power of simply stopping.
So, let's dive right into this paradox. Why do we run so relentlessly in the outside world? Well, the source material we're exploring today suggests something absolutely fascinating. It argues that humanity's greatest fear isn't actually being alone. No, our greatest fear is meeting ourselves. And that is precisely why we constantly surround ourselves with crowds, noise, endless plans, and completely packed schedules. We're basically building this massive wall of sound so we never ever have to face who is sitting quietly on the inside.
You see, we spend our entire lives learning the rules of the outer world. And that rule is basically, if you want to gain something, you gotta run, struggle, and grab it. But the core paradigm shift of the inner journey is the exact opposite. If you run inward, you just get lost. If you grab, you lose. True inner wealth only comes when you stop, when you let go, and when you sit completely empty of desires.
All right, let's get into Section 1, Facing the Noise. As we shift our focus inward, we actually have to acknowledge a kind of terrifying reality. Because when you finally sit alone and remove all those external distractions, you don't just magically find instant zen. Oh no. What you find is a deafening internal noise. We're talking crowds of racing thoughts, the suffocating dust of old memories, the thick smoke of desires, and the literal screams of unfulfilled ambitions. And here's the kicker. This chaos was always there, just running in the background. You just couldn't hear it because you were way too busy looking outside.
But encountering this internal chaos isn't a failure. It's actually solitude's first gift. Seeing this unfiltered reality completely shatters the illusion of control. Now, a lot of people get scared here and just run right back to their busy lives at this exact moment. But seeing the mess, that is the true starting point of your spiritual journey.
What is seen can be freed. What remains unseen becomes a prison. You don't need to fight the internal noise. You don't need to try and violently silence it. You really just need to observe it. Because the very moment you truly see your fears and your chaos, the lock on your prison door just clicks open.
Which brings us to Section 2, you are the witness, not the mind.
Think about it. If you're hearing the chaos, who is doing the listening? Almost everyone in the world makes this one fundamental mistake. We mistake ourselves for our mind. We think the mind's failure is our failure. We think its fear is our fear. But the mind is just like clouds passing by, full of temporary thoughts and restless fears. Your true self, though, your consciousness, that's like the infinite sky. It's the silent observer. It's completely untouched, permanent, and perfectly at peace. You aren't the clouds. You're the sky. You are the witness.
Imagine a lake being lashed by a violent storm. The water is turbulent, murky, it's just chaotic. In that state, it's literally impossible for the lake to reflect the vast sky above it. Well, our minds are exactly the same way. When we're caught up in storms of expectations, anxieties, and constant demands, we just can't see reality clearly. But as you sit and observe, the winds naturally die down, the waters of your mind calm, and suddenly the entire beauty of existence reflects perfectly within you.
So this beautiful realization actually builds into a highly practical, everyday habit called the art of witnessing. Step 1, you just sit, demanding nothing, expecting absolutely nothing. Step 2, you watch your thoughts pass by. Imagine you're sitting safely on the bank of a river, just watching the water flow. You don't jump in to fight the current. And step 3, in that watching, you realize you are entirely separate from the water. You are the observer safely on the bank.
Truth is not hidden in words. It is hidden in the emptiness between words. Life's greatest mystery isn't found in the relentless chatter of your thoughts. Just like the magic of music is actually found in the silent pauses between the notes, the profound truth of who you really are is found in those brief, quiet gaps between your thoughts.
Moving right along to Section 3, let go of control, flow with the current. As we start to find that silence, we realize something huge. Our desperate need for control is the actual root of all our suffering. The mind has this insatiable hunger to dictate exactly how tomorrow must happen. It wants to force friends and partners to act a certain way. It molds situations to fit these rigid, unyielding plans, treating every single day like a war that has to be won.
But this need for control, it's a fire that never burns out. It only consumes you, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, and entirely robbed of peace.
Think about a massive flowing river again. You don't need to jump in and push the water to help it reach the ocean, right? It already knows the way. Or when you look at a tree, it isn't in some panicked hurry to grow. It just grows. Life is exactly the same. We cause ourselves so much agony trying to force our lives into a specific shape. But life is a mystery, meant to be deeply lived and experienced, not some rigid mathematical problem you're forced to solve. So, true spiritual growth requires a complete reversal of how we view success. Society teaches us that success means accumulating, adding titles, wealth, and these complex identities like layers of heavy clothing. But true awareness is all about uncovering. It's exactly like a master sculptor looking at a block of stone. They don't add anything to it. They simply chip away the excess, the unnecessary parts, to reveal the perfect masterpiece that was already hiding inside.
And there is exactly one major disease of the mind that stops this natural uncovering process. Just one: comparison. The mind absolutely loves to compare. Who has more? Who is further ahead? But look at nature. A rose never compares itself to a lotus. A mountain never compares itself to a river. They are entirely different, yet completely perfect in their own existence. When you drop that one disease of comparison, you simply bloom exactly as you were meant to.
Finally, Section 4, the universe opens the way. This brings us to the real climax of our journey today. What actually happens when you stop pushing? Well, when the inner running finally stops, something truly remarkable happens. The entire direction of your vision flips. Instead of constantly scanning the horizon for the next thing you lack, you sink deeply into your true center. You pivot from living in a state of constant deficit to living in a state of completeness. You stop going to people and situations just to extract things from them, and instead, you arrive perfectly balanced, ready to share the peace you found.
And when you drop that exhausting struggle, the magic really manifests, and your reality physically changes. Problems that used to look like impassable mountains suddenly just look like passing clouds. Because your mind is clear, decisions that used to completely paralyze you become effortlessly obvious. You stop trying to kick doors down, and instead you find they just open exactly when you need them to. It genuinely feels like an unseen hand is smoothly guiding you. Which brings us to a really profound question. Does the universe suddenly start opening doors for you because you prayed hard enough? Or because you begged loud enough? Or did the universe open those doors because you finally became quiet enough to actually hear its whispers? The source material implies the universe was always trying to guide you. Your mind was simply too loud, too busy shouting demands to hear the directions.
The day you truly learn to sit alone, you will realize you are never alone. The whole existence was communicating with you. Every rustle of the wind, every bird's song, every single moment of stillness was trying to connect with you. The moment you clear the static of the mind, you tap into that grand, quiet symphony of existence. You are held, you are guided, and you are entirely connected.
The path you've been desperately searching for, exhausting yourself over, was never outside. It was always waiting right there, inside of you. When you trust your inner silence, you no longer have to force your way through life. So, take a deep breath. Stop running. Step into the quiet and ask yourself, what profound truths will you finally hear when you simply stop?